Tonight I have a date, take it easy. She stood in the kitchen doorway, keys in hand, wearing heels and perfume, following her usual routine, except this time she abandoned the act. It wasn't Karen this time, no girls' night out. She called it what it was. I looked up from my plate and responded with 6 words. Without uttering a word, she placed the keys on the table. 3 days prior, on a Monday morning, I had left my pickup at Haverson's shop for new brake pads. Simone was already at the clinic, so I drove her Camry from the garage. We've been married 18 years, met when I was 29, and for most of that time, my primary concerns were delivery delays and mortgage payments. I required directions to a warehouse in Rockford, a new client, an unfamiliar route, so I tapped the GPS screen and selected recent destinations. Her entries, the same address, all within the last 2 weeks. Not the clinic, not Karen's house, not any store I recognized. I inputted the address on my phone, Extended Stay America, one of those long-term apartment hotels situated off the highway, beyond the industrial park, a place seldom visited unless someone is evading something or temporarily displaced. A sense of unease gripped me, yet I persevered, parked in the warehouse lot 10 minutes prior to schedule, stayed in her car and scrutinized the screen for visits scheduled 2 weeks later. Simone had never once mentioned that neighborhood until now. Suddenly a light bulb switched on. About 2 weeks back, she'd arrived home and mentioned Todd gave her a ride because her car was at the car wash. Todd, the representative from the farming company covering her clinic. I recalled this incident because I had been working from home that day. Her Camry remained in the garage throughout that period. At the time, I chose to ignore it. However, my phone's navigation history now confronted me, and the lie had taken on a new form. I navigated through the workday, barely managed my routes, verified 2 pickups in Joliet, responded to emails. In the evening, my actions occupied me as memories of Simone departing over the past month played incessantly within me. An encounter with Karen, a work gathering at the clinic, her cousin's birthday celebration. Only issue is the cousin resides in Phoenix. By 5 p.m., I found myself back in our driveway, parked in her Camry with the engine idling. I navigated to Todd Everett's Facebook profile on my phone, finding his beaming picture in a polo shirt, sales accolades, snapshots from a family lake trip, and images of his wife Brielle, along with their 2 children on a dock. I had met him on 2 occasions, the Christmas party at the clinic and a summer barbecue Simone took me to. On both instances, he shook my hand and addressed me as Wheeze. It seemed Simone stood a tad too close on these occasions, which I attributed to her being outgoing. Prior to entering the house, I snapped screenshots of the navigation history, every location, every date. I also captured the odometer reading. If Simone were to erase the screen later, I'd retain the records. The dinner was somber. Simone shared tales of a problematic root canal. Twice, she secretly glanced at her phone hidden under the table, directing it away from me. Upon ascending the stairs, I remained stationed at the counter, documenting dates from the screenshots of hotel stays that contradicted her claimed locations. Earlier in the day, I'd contacted Brielle with facts rather than suspicion. Tuesday, 7 a.m. saw Simone depart for the clinic. I penned a message to Brielle Everett on Facebook, keeping it concise and factual. There were no emotions or accusations, merely the hotel address, dates from the GPS screen, and a single line. I suspect your husband and my wife have been meeting there. You may want to investigate. I hit send, placing the phone face down on the counter. The hours passed slowly on Tuesday. I managed 3 long-haul trips from our Peoria terminal, spent an hour on the phone with a driver whose trailer hitch broke outside Des Moines. These were routine issues, ones that I could address. By noon, Brielle hadn't responded. One, I suspected she had either observed it, causing panic, or Facebook had tucked it away in messages requests. Regardless, I had done what was necessary. The onus was now on her. That night, Simone arrived home at 7, carrying takeout from the Thai restaurant. She kissed my cheek, placed the bag on the counter, and claimed she was tired. A long day, I inquired. It seemed Todd's work area had been restructured. Everyone seemed anxious. She mentioned his name casually, with no struggle. Dropped it nonchalantly, even in front of me. I savored my pad thai and held my tongue, not out of weakness but patience. On Wednesday at 5:14 p.m., my phone vibrated with a Facebook message from Brielle Everett. You're correct. I verified his credit card information. The same hotel for expenses over 2 weeks. Thank you for informing me. The costs corresponded precisely with the navigation lock history. I reread her message thrice. Each time, the facts appeared weightier. This wasn't mere suspicion anymore. Credit card statements don't deceive, and neither do navigation locks. 6 p.m. found me on the phone with Ray Villanueva, a lawyer from work's past divorce case. I didn't seek advice. I needed someone to store documents until I decided on timing. After our conversation, I drove home, retrieved deeds and mortgage papers from the fireproof safe in the basement, and dropped them off at Ray's office before it closed. Upon my return, Simone was engrossed in a cooking show without giving me a second glance. I sat opposite her, 3 feet away, noticing her planning her next lie, her phone screen strategically angled away from me. Unbeknownst to her, Brielle had verified the credit card transactions and the deeds were already with an attorney. The revelation was imminent, Thursday evening. Sitting at the kitchen table finishing leftover chili, Simone soon joined me downstairs. Silver dress, silver earrings. Hair styled in her signature way for significant occasions, keys clutched in her hand. She paused at the kitchen threshold, placing them purposefully on me, not against a wall or as she passed by, directly toward me, touchingly. As if challenging me to respond, I have a date tonight. Calm down, not Karen, not work-related, date, just that. She waited for our usual quarrel, anticipating my raised voice, pleas, or inquiries. Perhaps she sought it. A dispute she could employ as an exit justification. I put down my spoon, raised my gaze from the bowl. Todd's wife has been aware since Tuesday. 6 words. Simone's hand froze on the countertop. The keys stayed put. Her face exhibited something I had never seen before. First, confusion, then calculation, followed by a stillness that began at her jaw and climbed upward. She reached for her phone and dialed Todd. No response. She tried again, straight to voicemail. She attempted again for the 3rd time. Nothing. The keys remained on the granite countertop. She didn't depart. For an hour, no one spoke. Simone was seated on a bar stool, holding her phone tightly, scrolling, typing, deleting. Every few minutes, she dialed Todd's number. Each call went straight to voicemail, faster each time, as if he deliberately avoided taking the call. Eventually, she placed the phone down and tried once more. It wasn't what you assumed. We were merely. I stood up from the table. Your car was in the garage, Simone. I was driving it. That was all it took. The false claim about the car wash, the ride from Todd, the GPS history. She watched as it crumbled before her eyes, not security footage, not spying. Her own neglect gave me everything. Simone hesitated, then opened her mouth to speak, closed it again. Frankly, could we just sit down and... The house documents are with my lawyer. I would begin packing. This startled her, not the words, but the tone. I didn't appear angry, agitated, or negotiating. This surprised her more than if I had shouted. I walked to the bedroom and shut the door. Retrieved my phone and messaged Ray. The event is underway. She's aware. Subsequently, I removed my boots, set the alarm for 5:30 a.m. and rested on the bed. From the wall, I heard the couch groan move, then become still. Next, her phone vibrated. Perhaps it was Todd again, or possibly her sister. She didn't visit our bedroom door. Neither did she knock. That night, she remained in her room, or maybe she didn't sleep. I chose not to verify. By Friday morning, 5:45 a.m., I entered the kitchen and found Simone awake. 2 half-zipped suitcases stood by the front door, clothes neatly folded on the couch. She was engaged in a quiet, rapid conversation with her sister Colleen. Upon spotting me, she turned towards the window and spoke even more softly. I prepared coffee, poured myself a cup, gathered my keys, and headed to work. At the terminal, I examined my day's routes and navigated the morning dispatches without giving thought to the suitcases by the door. Around 10 a.m., Brielle texted me briefly. Todd returned home last night. I instructed him to depart. He's currently residing at his brother's place. Thus, Todd neglected Simone's calls due to a fire in his own residence. As Brielle had foreseen, she confronted him about the credit card charges on the same night. In just 48 hours, 2 families experienced disintegration, and my wife was the only one unaware of the impending event. I responded to Brielle's message. I apologize for your predicament as well. She typed back, don't be. It's better to know. That was our last meaningful interaction. 2 individuals linked by a shared deception and then separated once the truth took effect. Upon arriving home on Friday evening, Simone was absent. The luggage and her absence were conspicuous on the counter. A note indicated she was at Colleen's. The house held an eerie silence, unlike the bustle it had witnessed for months. Not empty, merely occupied by one person. Not lonely, merely realigned. Like a thermostat that had finally stabilized. Simone contacted me 4 times between Saturday and Monday. I responded only once on Sunday evening while heating soup on the stove. She wished to discuss something. Claimed it had begun 3 months earlier following a conference Todd's company organized for the clinic staff. She asserted he had been pursuing her. Claimed it was intended to be temporary. A diversion, not a relationship. A diversion from what? I inquired. Long silence. She didn't provide an answer or seemed unwilling to reveal one with me on the phone. I ended the call and blocked her number, stirred the soup, ate dishes at the counter, not the table. The table still felt like a crime scene. In the afternoon, Ray Villanueva called. Simone had hired her own lawyer, Grace Wong, from a mid-sized downtown firm. She's planning to contest for the house, Ray informed me. Community property argument. 18 years of marriage. My name is on the deed. My down payment. For the past 18 years, all mortgage payments were made from my account. Yes, I'm aware, but she'll try. I instructed Ray to prepare the separation agreement. Everything must be documented. Everything must be finalized. The following Thursday, Simone appeared at our house with Grace Wong. She sat opposite me at my own kitchen table where she had announced her date 9 days prior. Grace presented the case. Our 18-year marriage, shared residence, gave Simone a right to equitable distribution. I listened as she spoke, then turned to Simone and echoed her own words. Todd's absence from the picture remains unnoticed by him. I will handle the house. The color drained from Simone's face. That's due to your messages with Todd, discovered after the argument and read over the phone by his wife. Grace Wong gave a glance to Simone, who stared at the table. I slid a manila folder towards her across the granite countertop. Separation agreement, already filled out by Ray on Monday night. Sign it or we'll take it to court, and those messages will be part of the record. The room fell quiet. Grace leaned close and murmured something to Simone. Despite not showing signs of anger, Simone's hand trembled. She had penned the proof herself, every instruction regarding our shared home, every careless reassurance about my ignorance, all neatly stored in Brielle's phone, each screenshot clear as day. 2 weeks later, Simone signed the divorce papers, keeping the house and its joint savings for me. She took her car, her wardrobe, and the furniture from the spare room. Grace Wong departed without a goodbye handshake. Simone exited through the front door with the final box. She didn't turn to look back. As days passed, Todd's circumstances worsened. When his divorce lawyer demanded financial disclosures, a corporate credit card statement emerged, revealing expenses at an extended stay during business hours. Confronted by his employer, he was given 2 options: resign or face an investigation. He opted to step down. Initially, Brielle informed me that she relocated to her brother's basement in Dayton and sought employment. Afterwards, she ceased communicating with Simone. With the disintegration of her own family, Simone became insignificant to him. She abandoned her marriage for a man who discarded her upon incurring costs. To my surprise, Brielle wrapped up her divorce promptly. She sent me a farewell message expressing gratitude for reaching out and wishing me well. We didn't converse further after that. Aaron, Simone's longtime friend, discovered Simone's actions ended their friendship, erasing 20 years of camaraderie because Simone misused her name as a cover. One Sunday evening, my son Eli called. I hadn't prepared for the conversation, but the legal proceedings were completed and there was no point in delaying. "Your mother and I are ending our marriage," I announced. "It's already been resolved." A moment of silence followed before I sensed something. "I apologize, Father." He didn't ask for specifics. Didn't choose a side, merely promised to visit when convenient. That was sufficient. By 9 a.m. on a late March Saturday, the air still held a chill. Closing my laptop at the kitchen table, I confirmed that Ray's email finalized the house ownership under my name. The last bit of paperwork had been completed. On the counter lay 1 set of keys. The spare set I'd given to Ray that morning, and he'd already returned to Simone's attorney. I selected Simone's contact on my phone and deleted it, erasing her name from the screen, slipped the phone into my pocket, took my jacket and the keys to my truck. The vehicle had recently been repaired, sporting fresh brake pads and rotors, running better than in a year. 3 weeks ago, I'd noticed that the fence along the driveway was leaning. 2 posts were rotted at the base, causing the entire section to tilt towards the neighbor's yard. I intended to fix it then, but there had been other matters to attend to. Now there weren't. Drove along Route 14 to the hardware store, loaded my truck with 2 pressure-treated posts, quickset concrete, and a box of galvanized screws. Parked at home, switched to work boots, spent the morning removing old posts and installing new ones. By noon, fence was upright. Concrete was under the April sun for curing. My house, my fence, my Saturday.